Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Audiobook. Here you will find your favorite audiobooks. Do subscribe to my channel. Today we are going to read chapter 4. We are blowing past our key performance indicators so quickly it makes my head spin. New teammates to mentor, new brands to manage, new markets to penetrate, new suppliers to watch, new products to refine, new investors and shareholders to impress, and 1,000 new responsibilities to handle. It really does feel like it's a lot. I have a huge capacity to get big things done, but there's a lot on my shoulders. The entrepreneur tightened the arms and scrunched her forehead together absent-mindedly. Her thin lips pulled together like a sea anemone's, shutting on sensing a fatal predator, and her eyes suggested she was suffering intensely. And about your point about being addicted to technology, just remember that intelligently used, it advances human progress. Through using technology wisely, our lives become better, our knowledge becomes richer, and our wonderful world becomes smaller. It is the misuse of technology that is ruining people's mind, damaging their productivity, and destroying the very fabric of our society. Your phone is costing you your fortune, if you are playing with it all day long. And what you just said about all the pressure on you, how fantastic. Pressure is a privilege, said tennis legend Billie Jean King. The homeless man shared, you get to grow, and ascending as a person is one of the smartest ways to spend the rest of your life. With every challenge comes the gorgeous opportunity to rise into your next level as a leader, performer, and a human being. Obstacles are nothing more than the test designed to measure how seriously you want the rewards that your ambitions seek. They show up to determine how willing you are to improve into the kind of person who can hold that amount of success. Failure is just a growth in wolf's clothing. And pretty much nothing else is as important in lifting as personal expansion, the unfoldment of your potential. Tolstoy wrote, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Becomes a bigger person, and you will also automatically become a better leader and a great producer. And yes, I agree that growth can be scary, but my mentor once taught me that the part of you that clings to fear must experience a sort of crucifixy on that the portion of you that deserves high honor undergoes a kind of reincarnation. Those are the exact words he shared with me. Freaky and deep right, said the hobo as he rubbed the holy man beads he was wearing. He kept going without waiting for an answer. My special teacher also told me that to find your best self, you must lose your weak self. And that only happens through relentless improvement, continuous reflection, and ongoing self-excavation. If you don't keep rising daily, you will get stuck in your life for the rest of your life. Makes me consider that the journalist Norman Cousins said the tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. The homeless man raised his raspy voice and observed, my special teacher taught me that once we transform the primary relationship with ourselves, we will find that our relationship with other people, our work, our income, and our impact transform. Most people cannot stand themselves, so they can never be alone and silent. They need to constantly be with other people to escape their feelings of self-hatred all over their wasted potential, missing the wonders and wisdoms that solitude and could bring, or they watch TV endlessly, not realizing it's eroding their imagination as well as bankrupting their bank accounts. My life feels so complicated, I feel so overwhelmed. I don't have any time for myself, the entrepreneur repeated. Not sure what has happened to my life. Things have just become harder. I understand you, the artist said as he placed an arm over his new friend's shoulder. My intuition tells me that you are going through a lot more than you're sharing. And that's okay, some days life seems so messy that I can't get out of bed. I just lie there, man. I close my eyes and wish the fog in my head would just go away. Even for a day, I can't think straight some of the time, and on those days, my heart has no hope in it at all. It sucks, and a lot of people suck too, man. I am not anti-social, I am just anti-moron. Too many dumb people around these days taking stupid fashion pictures of themselves with pouty lips and clothes that they can't afford. Hanging with people they don't even like. I had rather live a thoughtful life, a risky life, a real life, an artist's life. Drives me crazy how superficial people have become. The artist then punched one fist into his other hand. Unyielding creases appeared along his jawline and a blue vein twitched in his thick neck. Sure, I got you, said the homeless man. Life is not easy, people. Tough slog a lot of the time, but like John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end. And if it is not okay, it is not the end. He offered kindly, spouting yet another quote from what seemed to be an unlimited supply in his brain. The artist softened, instantly smiling in a way that looked almost sweet. He exhaled mightily. He liked what he had just heard. And the vagrant continued. This climb up into the rare air of personal and professional mastery that the three of us have obviously signed up for is not for the weak. Upgrading your life so you know real joy and optimizing your skills so you know your field can be uncomfortable a lot of the time. I need to be honest. But here is one key thing I have learned. The soreness of growth is so much less expensive than the devastating cost of regret. Where had you learned that? Questioned the artist as he scrawled the words into his notebook. Can't tell you. Yet the homeless man responded, heightening the mystery of where he had discovered much of his insight. The entrepreneur turned away from the artist and jotted down some of her thoughts into her device. The homeless man then reached into a pocket of his whole-ridden plaid shirt and produced a heavily used index card. He held it up like a kindergarten student at show and tell. A distinguished person gave this to me and I was a lot younger as I was starting my first company. I was a lot like you cats, dripping with dreams and set to make my marks on the world. Hungry to prove myself, amped to dominate the game. The first 50 years of our lives are a lot about seeking legitimacy, you know. We crave social approval. We want our peers to respect us. We hope our neighbors will like us. We buy all sorts of things we really don't need and obsess about making money we really don't enjoy. Totally right, muttered the artist, nodding his head aggressively and shifting his posture noticeably as his dreadlocks dangled over his shoulders. The event venue was now empty. If we have the courage to look within, we discover that we do this because we have a series of holes within us. We falsely believe that material from the outside will fill what's empty within ourselves. Yet it never will, never will. Anyhow, when many of us reach the halftime point of our lives, we make a right angle turn. We begin to realize that we are not going to live forever and that our days are numbered. And so we connect with our morality big point. Here we realize we are going to die. What's truly important comes into much sharper focus. We become more contemplative. We start to wonder if we have been true to our talents, loyal to our values, and successful on the long terms that feel right to us. And we think about what those we most love will say about us when we are gone. That's when many of us make a giant shift. From seeking legitimacy in the society to constructing a meaningful legacy. The last 50 years then become less about me and more about we. Less about selfishness and more about service. We stop adding more things into our lives and begin to subtract and simplify. We learn to savor simple beauty, experience gratitude for small miracles. Appreciate the priceless value of peace of mind. Spend more time cultivating human connections and come to understand that the one who gives the most is victorious, and what is left of your life then become a phenomenal dedication to living life itself as well as ministry of kindness to the many. And this becomes potentially your gateway into immorality. He is really special, whispered the entrepreneur. I have not felt this hopeful, energized, and grounded in months. My father used to help me navigate difficult times, she told the artist. Ever since he passed away, I don't have anyone to lean on. What happened to him? Cursed the artist. I am a little fragile right now, even though I feel stronger now than I did when I walked in here this morning. That's for sure, but I will simply say that he took his own life. Dad was a remarkable man, a tremendous successful business pioneer. He flew airplanes, raced fast cars, and loved super wine. He was so alive that his business partner took away everything from him. Not so different from the horrible scenario I am living right now. Anyway, the stress and shock of his world collapsing pushed him to do what we could never have imagined. He just could not see any way out, I guess, the entrepreneur revealed as her voice broke. You can lean on me, the artist said tenderly. He placed a hand with a hippie ring on a pinky finger onto his heart as he spoke these words, looking both chivalrous and bohemian. The homeless man interrupted the intimate moment the two were sharing. "Here, read this," he instructed as he handed over his index card. "It will be useful as you both rise to your next performance levels and experience everything that comes with this adventure into human leadership, personal mastery, and creating a career of uncommon productivity." In red lettering over the page are that they had yellowed by the advance of times, it read, "All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. That is where good," noted the entrepreneur. "A valuable piece of information for me. Thank you." The artist then resumed playing his illegal copy of the Spellbinder's presentation. "Each one of you carries a quiet genius and triumphant hero within your hearts. Dismiss these as the idealistic words of an elderly inspirationalist if you wish, but I am proud to be idealist. Our world needs more of us, and yet I am also a realistic. And here is the truth. Most people on the planet today don't think much of themselves. Unfortunately, they secure their identity by who they are externally. They evaluate their achievement by what they have collected versus by the characters they have cultivated. They compare themselves to the orchestra and fake highlight reels presented by the people they follow. They measure their self-worth by their net worth, and they get kidnapped by the false thought that because something has never been done, it can't be done, depleting the grand and electrifying possibilities their lives are meant to become. This explains why the majority is sinking in the quicksand of uncertainty, boredom, distraction, and complexity. "Drama mamas," the homeless man interrupted again. "That's what I call men and women who have caught the virus of victimist executes. All they do is complain about how bad things are for them instead of applying their primal power to make things better. They take instead of give, criticize instead of create, and worry instead of work. Build antibodies to combat any form of average form of getting anywhere near your professional days at the office and your private lift at home. Never be a drama mama." The entrepreneur and the artist peeked at each other. Then they giggled, both at the terms the quirky stranger was using and at the way he had raised an arm and made the fingers of one hand into a peace sign as he spoke the words he had just shared. If you were standing there with them, you would think he was weird too. The spellbinder could then be heard speaking the following words on the recording with dramatic flair. "To be clear, every day, for the rest of your life, you will be faced with the chance of showing leadership wherever you are and in all that you do. Leadership is not just for global icons and marketplace titans. It's an arena everyone gets to play in. Because leadership is not less about having a formal title, a large office and money in the bank, and a lot more about committing to mastery over all you do and in who you are. It is about resisting the tyranny of the ordinary, refusing to allow negativity to hijack your sense of awe, and preventing any form of slavery to mediocrity from infesting your life. Leadership is about making a difference right where you are planted. Real leadership is about sending a brave work that exemplifies genius, turns your whole field on its head by its scope, innovation, and execution, and is so staggeringly sublime that it stands the test of time. And never work only for the income, labor for the impact. Make your dominant pursuit the heartfelt release of value that represents an uncommon magic that borders on the poetic. Demonstrate the fuel and expression of what is possible for a human being to create. Develop the patience to stick with your dedication to absolute world-class output, even if over a lifetime you only generate a single masterpiece. To achieve this feat alone will have made your life journey a worthy track. Be a virtuoso, a standout, an exceptionalist. The top 5% are a lot less concerned with fame, cash, and approval, and a lot more invested in punching above their weight class within their craft, playing above their pay grade around their talents, and creating the kind of productivity that inspires and serves millions. That is often why they make millions, so never mail it in. Always bring it on. The homeless man now had his eyes closed and was down on the floor doing a series of one-armed push-ups. All the while he was chanting, "On your morning, elevate your life." The entrepreneur and the artist shook their heads. One of my favorite books is The Prophet Muse the Artist. It is one of the best-selling work of poetry even written. I read that Khalil Gibran carried the manuscript around with him for 4 long years and refined it constantly before giving it to his publisher, just so it was pure art. I still remember the exact words he spoke when he was interviewed by the journalist about his creative process because they guide me a lot when I am in the studio. His words keep me reaching for a great power as an art even though I battle procrastination a lot. Like I said, I am pretty good, but I know I can be great. If I could just beat myself about age and my demons, what did he say? Asked the homeless man, now standing and twiddling with his big watch. Beads of perspiration meandered down his angular face. Here is exactly what he said, mentioned the artist. I wanted to be sure, very sure, that every word of it was the very best I had to offer. Generally, replied the homeless man, that is the standard that the best ones always hold themselves to. Abruptly, the spellbinder could be heard coughing in the audio. His comments that followed seemed to struggle out of him like an unborn child fearlessly reluctant to leave the security of its loving mother, warm and safe warm. Anyone can become an everyday leader by showing up as I'm encouraging when it's easy and especially when it is difficult, starting today. And if you do so, a guaranteed victory is in your future. And I need to add that there is not one person alive today who cannot lift their thinking, performance, vitality, prosperity, and lifetime happiness magnificently by wiring in a series of profound daily rituals and then practicing them until they become your second nature. And this brings me to the single most important principle of my talk, the greatest starting point for winning in your work and making a splendid life is joining what I call the 5am Club. How can you ever be world class if you don't carve out some time each morning to make yourself world class? The entrepreneur was not taking notes with a vicious intensity not previously seen. The artist's face had a "this makes me feel strong" smile on it. The homeless man burped, then got down to the floor and held the plank the kind fitness pros at the gym love to do, build a strong core. You could hear the spellbinder begin to cough even more fiercely. A brutal and sustained pause followed. Next, he uttered these words haltingly. He was whizzing audibly. His voice began to quaver like an voice telemarketer on her very first sales call. Rising at 5 a.m. truly is the mother of all routines. Joining the 5am Club is the one behavior that raises every other human behavior. This rhyme is the ultimate needle mover to turn you into an undefeatable model of possibility. The way you begin your day really does determine the extent of focus, energy, excitement, and excellence you bring to it. Each early morning is the page in the story that becomes your legacy. Each new dawn is the fresh chance to unleash your brilliance, unpresent your potency, and play in the big leagues of iconic results. You have such power within you, and it reveals itself most with the first rays of daybreak. Please do not allow past pains and present frustrations to diminish your glory, stifle your invisibility, and choke the unlimited possibilitarian that lurks within the supreme part of. In a world that seeks to help you down, build yourself up. In an epic that wishes you should stay in the dark, step in your light. At a time that mesmerizes you to forget your gifts, reclaim your genius. Our world requires this of each of us, to be champions of our crafts, warriors for our growth, and guardians of unconditional love for all the humankinds. Display respect and comparison for all other people who occupy this tiny planet regardless of their creed, color, or caste. Lift them up in a civilization where many get energy, tearing others down. Help others sense the marvel that sleep within them. Show us the virtues we all wish more would practice. Everything I am saying will speak to the unspoiled part of you. That side of yourself that was viciously alive before you were taught to fear, hoard, contract, and distrust. It's your job as a hero of your life, as a creative achiever set to change the culture and a citizen of Earth to find his dimensions within you. And once done, to spend the rest of your days, reconnect with it, accept this opportunity to human mastery, and I promise you that a sonority for success as well as an orchestrated magic well beyond the boundaries of logic will infuse the remainder of your days, and the larger angels of your grander potential will begin to visit you regularly. Actually, an orderly series of seemingly impossible miracles will descend onto your most genuine of dreams, causing the best of them to come true, and you will evolve into one of those rare and great spirits who upgrade the whole world by the simple act of walking amongst us. The conference hall was now dark. The entrepreneur let out a sigh the size of the Mexico City. The artist was motionless. The homeless man began to cry. He then stood on a chair, raised his arms like a preacher, and owned these words of Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw. This is the true joy in life, the being used for purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish little clod of oilsmen and grievance complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am one of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold on for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to the future generations. The homeless man then fell to his knees, kissed his holy hands, and continued to weep. The chapter 4 ends here. I am waiting for you in the chapter 5 series, A Bizarre Adventure into Morning Mastery. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family.